are these two teams, Spurs and United, ever truly going to find success under these managers? These managers being stubborn, if you want to call it that, or being adamant to want to play the way that they've played their entire careers and have had success previously playing the way that they play. Can it translate in the EPL?
Slightly different situations in terms of, I think Amorim has the guys playing the style cold turkey in terms of, we're not doing the 10 thing, we're playing the style. And everyone has to then adapt. But the issue is that they're not picking up points in the learning period of this particular style. If they were to adjust to it maybe 50% and then secure a win at least against Ipswich, not come back and draw it, or secure a win against, they did against Leicester, but the teams that they should be beating. And then you're like, okay, phase number 2, we're dropping our defenders deeper, we're doing this and that, let's change the shape because you've learned how to play 50% of it, then do it all in all. Whereas Ange has had this style from last season and everyone was saying, they look exciting, they look good. They were top of the table at some point, they looked exciting, then they drastically fell off. And they've never really recovered because they started decently this season, but then, as you said, went on to the run of lots of losses. They've had injuries as well, fine. But I start to ask myself in terms of, can these ideas translate? Because when you look at where these managers are from and how they had success in those other leagues, you ask yourself, in a league that is said to be much faster, more physical, where teams will press you if they have nothing else to do or to bring to the party, they will press you. Then you start to ask yourself, is it naive of Ange and his team to be so open all the time against anyone? Because three goals in the first half against Everton. Everton, who sacked Sean Dyche, thank you, to appoint David Moyes again because they were not cutting it. They were not surviving. And they scored 3. Maybe it's the Moyes effect, I don't know. But they scored 3 in the first half against your team. That's naive. And you've got Ruben Amorim, who's conceding 2 or 3 every other game, like consistently. Then you have to look at that and say, okay, I've got a style, but it's not working at the moment. And then you have to ask yourself, how do I make this work? So will they find success anytime soon with these managers? I don't know, Jay, because at least with Spurs, at some point in time, it was working. At some point, you're like, Justin Odogie, put him in your FPL team because he's going to give you a return. He's bombing down the wings. He's going to have an assist. He's always in the final third. Son is rejuvenated. Kulusevski, Brendan Johnson, you're happy. You're like, now they've got Solanke. That's another piece. They've got Madison, And so it looked like it was working up until it wasn't. Now, obviously, there are key omissions in terms of Ricardo Ageko. Van der Ven is not there as well. Bentancur is not there as well. So maybe at full strength, it plays better. But even with that, Jay, I think as much as you miss key players, your system must be good enough to at least draw games when you've got the players who are not the best in your team. And I don't think they're doing that at this moment. So I don't know, man. And also there's that Spurs thing, which is now becoming a United thing in terms of United also are horrible in the league, but they'll find some magic in Europe or they'll find some magic in the domestic cup. So I don't know if these teams will find success with these managers, Jay, if they stay as stubborn as they are. So with Ruben Amorim as well, Jay.
You are going to get found out if you are not adaptable or if you are maybe just not that good. And I have to ask the question, why don't you want to go away from something that is not working? Is it possible because you don't know any other way? And then at that point, we need to ask the question, are you good enough for this level, for the objectives of these teams? Ange Postecoglou, after the win against Liverpool in the first leg in the Carabao Cup, where they did not concede a goal, all right? He was asked about the more pragmatic approach, and he was very quick, Chuck, to shut down the idea that is where he's going. And he said it's because he was missing personnel and he was forced to play that way. And I'm thinking to myself, what do you mean? What do you mean after maybe what looks your best performance of the season, and because of the things that everybody has been saying that you should implement in the way that you play, you implemented them, and you're like, nah, I don't. You see, Ange is a hippie, like through and through, because it makes no sense to me, and I honestly don't know if Ange Postecoglou, his main objective is to win. I think his main objective is to enjoy the game, or is to express his ideas of what he believes the game is and how it needs to be played. And he and his attitude is whatever would come from that, like I'm satisfied. It's a great way to live life, right? It's a great way to go through life with that mindset that I'm going to do me, and whatever the outcomes, I will be at peace with that because I will know that I was true to myself, and this is what he is doing. But that's not good enough at the highest ends of like professional football. And then with Ruben Amorim, man, not only in England, but outside of England, the only place would be Italy. We've never seen a team win the league with a back three. It would be revolutionary if Ruben Amorim were to be able to completely change this team and make them a team that goes on to win the league. But as I'm saying, we've never seen this. This is probably why Liverpool went away from him in terms of hiring him, because they figured that it's too much of an upheaval to go from what they had under Klopp. And yes, we're not quite looking for Klopp to replace Klopp, but can we stick to similar ideals? And this is why you've got a sporting director or a director of football, because they set the tone in terms of this is our idea, this is our football style, and when you come in as the coach, do you fit what we already have in mind and the players we've collected? Because we've bought all these players, and then when you bring in a coach who's not going to be able to use these players, that there's just a dissonance from the management, from like upper management already, right? And this coach is expected to work miracles, or there's a belief that these players are malleable enough where they can go from playing in the systems that they've played in before to this one and be successful, whereas they weren't even all that successful in the previous ones as well. So Chuck, I don't know if Ruben is going to be able to make it work. With Ruben Amorim, as I've kept saying, I want to see more than just right now. I do want to see him after the summer transfer window, and if United can get him recruits that are more aligned to the way that he wants to play, and then be at this point in January 2026, February 2026, after yet another transfer window, to see where they are. As things are presently constructed, it doesn't look like success is anywhere near Manchester United. Over at Spurs as well with Ange, that's just not going to happen. And I know you said it was successful before. It was the first 10 games of the first season.
And it looked good. Everyone was praising him.
After that though, Chuck, nothing. It's never recovered.
Everyone was praising him. Was like, this is how we want to play. And